Dear friends, this is episode number 48. This continuation, we will continue order 32. We have covered up to rule 3 in the previous episode. Now we will see rule 3a. Decree against a minor not to be set aside unless prejudice has been caused to his interests. Unless prejudice has been caused to his interests. No decree passed against a minor shall be set aside merely on the ground that the next friend or guardian for the suit of the minor had an interest in the subject matter of the suit adverse to that of the minor. Sorry. A decree is passed in the case. Minor is a defendant. There was a next friend, the next friend or guardian. If it is in the case of a plaintiff, next friend, or guardian in the case of a defendant, minor defendant. And that decree will not be set aside merely on the ground that the next friend or guardian had an interest in the subject matter of the suit adverse to that of the minor. So even if there was an adverse interest against the minor plaintiff or minor defendant, that by itself is not a ground to set aside the decree passed in the case. But the fact that by reason of such adverse interest of next friend or guardian for the suit, prejudice has been caused to the interest of the minor shall be a ground for setting aside the decree. So simply because that the next friend or guardian of the minor had an interest adverse to that of the minor in respect of the suit property or otherwise, that by itself is not a ground to set aside the decree passed by the court. But because of such adverse interest, prejudice has been caused. Prejudice has been caused to the interest of the minor. Then that will be a ground for setting aside the decree. Nothing in this rule shall preclude the minor from obtaining any relief available under any law by reason of the misconduct or gross negligence on the part of the next friend or guardian for the suit, resulting in prejudice to the next friend. So his other remedies, if any, are not barred. But a decree passed in the case will not be set aside by the court only on the ground that the next friend of the minor or guardian of the minor had an adverse interest against the minor, but that by itself is not a ground to set aside the decree. But when it is shown that the prejudice has been caused to the interest of the minor because of such adverse interest, that is a ground for setting aside the decree. Then 4. Who may act as the next friend or be appointed as guardian for the suit? Who is the person who can be appointed? Any person who is of sound mind and has attained majority may act as the next friend of a minor or as his guardian for the suit. Plaintiff is a minor. A person who is a lunatic comes forward and wants to file the suit on behalf of the minor as his next friend. Court will not allow it. So the criterion is that he must be the person who is to be appointed as a minor's next friend or guardian for the purpose of the suit must be a person who has attained majority and of sound mind. Of sound mind. That is distinguishable from physical inability. Physical inability is not connected with unsoundness or soundness of mind. A person who is who has no legs or who has no hands, lost because of any accident or something, that does not mean that he is unfit. He has got a strong mind. He is of sound mind and capable of protecting his interest, and in the case of minor's interest. Then he is he is competent to be appointed, notwithstanding his physical inability. So physical inability is not the question here. Provided that the interest of such person is not adverse to that of the minor, and that he is not, in the case of a next friend, a defendant, or in the case of a guardian for the suit, a plaintiff. So a plaintiff, I am the plaintiff, I am a major of sound mind, I instituted a suit against 5 defendants, one of whom is a minor. Can I, the plaintiff, be appointed as the guardian ad litem for the minor 5th defendant? No. Likewise, a defendant cannot be appointed as the next friend of the plaintiff. That is a bar. That is a proviso. Sub-rule 2. Where a minor has a guardian appointed or declared by competent authority under the Guardians and Wards Act, no person other than such guardian shall act as the next friend of the minor or be appointed as his guardian for the suit unless the court considers for reasons to be recorded that it is for the minor's welfare that another person be permitted to act or be appointed as the case may be. So for the person and property of the minor, the district court had appointed a person as the guardian. District court is a court having jurisdiction. Has appointed a guardian. That guardian has to represent the minor in all suits and proceedings. But and if such a guardian is appointed, no person other than such guardian be appointed for a minor plaintiff or a minor defendant in the suit unless the court considers for reasons to be recorded that it is for the minor's welfare that another person be permitted to act or be appointed. Suppose a near relative, father and mother are no more, there is no other natural guardian, a near relative is appointed as the guardian for the person and property of the minor by the appropriate court having jurisdiction. So if that minor is to file a suit or a suit is against that minor, naturally that guardian appointed by the competent court must be appointed as the next friend or guardian, as the case may be, for the minor. That is a general rule, but that does not curtail the power of the court to appoint another person as the next friend or guardian for the minor for the purpose of the suit. Notwithstanding the appointment of a particular person as the guardian by the competent court for the minor, and if that minor happens to be the plaintiff or defendant, the court need not necessarily appoint that guardian as the next friend or the guardian of the minor plaintiff or defendant, as the case may be. For reasons to be recorded, the court is satisfied that it is for the minor's welfare, another person can be appointed. So what is the paramount consideration? Welfare of the minor. Notwithstanding that a guardian has been appointed by the competent court, let it be. Normally that will be accepted as the guardianship, and the next friend or guardian, as the case may be, shall be the person who is so appointed as the guardian by the competent court. No doubt about it. But in exceptional cases, if the court thinks it fit for reasons to be recorded, that is, the welfare of the minor will be most protected, most effectively protected by appointing a third party. Court has power to do that. So what is of paramount importance is the interest of the minor, welfare of the minor. And that is a duty of the court. Now let us see Rule 9.2 also along with this. Rule 9.2. 9 is removal of next friend. Removal of next friend. Sub rule 2. I'll read it. Where the next friend is not a guardian appointed or declared by an authority competent in this behalf. We have seen here under rule 4.2 that for reasons to be recorded, another person can be appointed other than the person who was appointed as the guardian by the competent court. Such a person also can be appointed. Suppose such a person is appointed. That is where the next friend is not a guardian appointed or declared by an authority competent in that behalf. And an application is made by a guardian so appointed or declared, who desires to be himself appointed in the place of the next friend. The court shall remove the next friend unless it considers, for reasons to be recorded by it, that the guardian ought not to be appointed as the next friend of the minor, and shall thereupon appoint the applicant to the next friend in his place upon such terms as to cost. Suppose a suit is filed by a minor represented by a next friend. That proposed next friend does not know that a guardian has been appointed for the minor by a competent court under the Guardians and Wards Act. He does not know. He wanted to protect the interests of the minor. He filed a suit. Later, the guardian so appointed by the competent court in other proceedings applies to the court, saying that he is the person who has to protect the interests of the minor in the suit, and he may be appointed as the next friend of the minor for the suit. The court, after considering everything, may remove the next friend already appointed, who is a stranger, and appoint the guardian so appointed by the competent court in his place, unless the court finds, for reasons to be recorded, the guardian appointed by the competent court ought not to be appointed as the next friend for this suit. That is to be read along with Rule 4.2. Same principle. So that is Rule 9.2, that is when it comes to removal of next friend. It is said. This is one method of removal. The guardian appointed by the competent court comes before court and says that a stranger has been appointed as the next friend of the guardian minor. I am the guardian appointed by a competent court. Therefore, I am the person to be appointed as the next friend for the minor in the suit. The court will consider it and remove the stranger and appoint the guardian as the guardian appointed by a competent court as the next friend for the minor in the suit. That is removal of the next friend who is a stranger. Therefore, that comes under Rule 9.2. Same principle as we find in Rule 4.2. Only thing is that it speaks of removal. And recognizing the guardian appointed by the competent court as the next friend here, for which purpose it is necessary to remove the guardian already appointed. Therefore, it occurs in Rule 9. But the matters to be considered same. Yes. No person shall without his consent in writing be appointed as guardian for the suit. No person shall without his consent in writing be appointed guardian for the suit. See, I file a suit against 5 persons, one is a minor. I say that so and so should be appointed as the guardian for the minor in the suit for the purpose of the suit, guardian ad litem. That person's views must be ascertained. Notice should go to him. Take a case where there is a sole defendant, minor. Minor represented by guardian so and so. That person need not necessarily be willing to act as the guardian. So notice should go to him, hear him. And if he is willing, then consider whether he has got, this minor has got father, mother or other guardian appointed. Then issue notice to them and take a final decision in the matter. This is not on the mere ipsi dixit, that is a word of mouth of the plaintiff, that the court has to act. Rule 15 provides for, say, an inquiry. It's a serious proceeding Order 32, it is taken for granted in the practical aspect of it. But it is not so. A great duty is cast on the court. Yes. Where there is no other person fit and willing to act as the guardian for the suit, the court may appoint any of its officers to be such guardian and may direct that the cost to be incurred by such officer, etc., etc. See, there are cases in which advocates are appointed as the court guardian. Nobody is willing. So, court guardian is appointed. An advocate will be appointed as the court guardian. But I have seen on the practical side of it, it is done in a very, very, very slipshod manner. As a routine, it is not so. It is not so. A very serious thing. Yes, 5. Representation of minor by next friend or guardian for the suit. Every application to the court on behalf of the minor, other than an application under Rule 10, Sub-Rule 2, shall be made by his next friend or by his guardian for the suit. So, suit is filed, next friend through next friend. Even an application in that suit must be filed on behalf of the minor by the next friend. Or if he is a defendant, by the guardian. Every order made in a suit, see the drastic consequences. Every order made in a suit or on any application before the court, in or by which a minor is in any way concerned or affected, without such minor being represented by an next friend or guardian for the suit, as the case may be discharged. And where the pleader or the party at whose instance such order was obtained knew or might reasonably have known the fact of such minority, with cost to be paid by such pleader. So a suit is filed as if he is a major. He is really a minor plaintiff. No person is appointed as his next friend. Or a suit is filed against a defendant as if he is a major. He is really a minor, but no guardian is appointed for the suit. And an interim order is obtained by the plaintiff without informing the court that the defendant is a minor. And therefore the minor is affected. Such orders will be discharged. No doubt about it. And the pleader who knew that or might reasonably have known the fact of such minority. See, a person institutes a suit. He is really a minor. He comes and meets an advocate. As if he is a major, probably he may be having a matured mind, nobody knows. He is aged 17, but it is not disclosed to the lawyer. Suit is filed. Lawyer does not know. He is innocent. And this man is a grown-up man, sometimes even 17 years old person may be just like a grown-up man. So the lawyer filed the suit as if he is a major. Later it is brought to the notice of the court that he is a minor. Some adverse order was passed against him. Or say his interests are affected. That is pointed out by somebody. Then the court will discharge that order. And the lawyer, if the court finds that he knew that about that minority or has reasonably have known the fact of such minority, then he shall be mulcted with the cause. Who will pay the cost? The pleader, the advocate. See, this is to be read along with Rule 2.1. We have already seen. Then 6. Receipt by next friend or guardian for the suit of property under decree for minor. A next friend or guardian for the suit shall not, without the leave of the court, receive any money or other movable property on behalf of the minor, either by way of compromise before the decree or order, or under a decree or order in favor of the minor. Suit is pending, a compromise is effected. So, projected as effected. Or a decree is passed, money is paid by the defendant. Who receives? The next friend. He shall not do it. Without the leave of the court, he shall not receive any money or other movable property, either by way of compromise or under a decree or order. A decree is passed against a man in a suit filed by the minor. Minor is represented by next friend. So the defendant is prepared to comply with the decree. He pays that amount to the next friend. Bona fide. But the next friend shall not receive it without the leave of the court. Suppose a suit is filed by the minor, by next friend, for realization of 10 lakhs. Suit is decreed. Defendant has to obey the decree. He obeys the decree, pays the 10 lakhs, pays this amount of, decree amount of 10 lakhs. To whom? He cannot pay to the minor, but it has to be paid to the next friend. He directly pays that amount. He gets the 10 lakhs, he receives it. He will be answerable. Suppose tomorrow the minor asks for it, he will have to pay. The court will not recognize it. So, leave of the court is required. 2. Where the next friend or guardian for the suit has not been appointed or declared by the competent authority to be the guardian of the property of the minor, or having been so appointed or declared, is under a disability known to the court to receive the money or other movable property. The court shall, if it grants him leave to receive the property, require such security and give such direction as will in his opinion sufficiently protect the property from waste and ensure its proper application. All these things can be done. So in a case where a next friend or guardian for the minor ad litem is a person other than a person who is declared by a competent court as the guardian of the minor. So in a particular case no guardian is appointed, that doesn't matter. A next friend can be appointed or a guardian ad litem can be appointed, even a stranger can be appointed, parents can be appointed, no harm. And such a person is appointed. Or a person who is declared by a competent court as the guardian of the minor is appointed as the next friend or guardian for the purpose of the suit. And the court finds he is under some sort of disability known to the court to receive the money. Then the court will take security from him, from the next friend or guardian. For what? Sufficient to protect the property from waste and ensure its proper application. Leave will be granted to require such security and give such directions. Security can be taken and directions can be given sufficiently to protect the property from waste and ensure its proper application. So all these are the powers of the court, duties as well. Provided that the court may, for reasons to be recorded, dispense with such security while granting leave to the next friend or guardian for the suit to receive the money or other movable property under a decree or order, where such next friend or guardian is a manager of a Hindu undivided family and the decree or order relates to the property or business of the family, or he is a parent. Security need not be taken. The court may dispense with the necessity of taking security from the person. If he is a manager of a Hindu undivided family, manager of a Hindu undivided family has got certain privileges. He can take decision, he can deal with the property so as to bind the minor members, other co-partners, other members of the family. Therefore, no security need to be taken. Even by his position as the manager of the family, he has got certain rights, he has got certain responsibilities also. So that will take care of the situation. Or he is a parent of the minor. father of the minor or mother of the minor or some other parent, some other natural guardian of the parent of the minor, father or mother, then no security need be taken from him. Minor files a suit. He is represented by his father as the next friend. Suit is decreed. Defendant is prepared to pay the money. The father need not get the leave of the court. He has to get the leave of the court. But security need not be taken from him because he is the father. It is the discretion of the court to take or not to take. So all these are, see, the powers as well as duties of the court. That must be. And there, whenever such properties, such rights, such suits and proceedings are being dealt with, all concerned must take care. 7. Agreement or compromise by next friend or guardian for the suit. This is to be read along with Order 23, Rule 3. Order 23, Rule 3. No next friend or guardian for the suit shall, without the leave of the court, expressly recorded in the proceeding, enter into an agreement or compromise on behalf of a minor with reference to the suit in which the acts of the next friend, he acts as the next friend or guardian. Sorry. So, next friend or guardian, without leave of the court expressly recorded in the proceeding, enter into an agreement or compromise on behalf of the minor. 1A, which was inserted by the 1976 amendment, an application for leave under Subrule 1 shall be accompanied by an affidavit of the next friend or guardian for the suit, as the case may be, and also if the minor is represented by a pleader, by a certificate to the pleader to the effect that the agreement or compromise proposed is, in his opinion, for the benefit of the minor, which we have seen while dealing with Order 23 Rule 1 proviso and also Rule 23.2. We have seen. Order 23 Rule 1 proviso. Same thing. An affidavit should be filed that the proposed compromise is for the benefit of the minor, and if there is a lawyer appearing for the minor, a certificate shall be issued by the lawyer stating that this proposed compromise is to the best interest of the minor, provided that the opinion so expressed, whether in the affidavit or in the certificate, shall not preclude the court from examining whether the agreement or compromise proposed is for the benefit of the minor. So an affidavit is filed by the next friend or guardian, as the case may be, and a certificate is also issued by the lawyer who represents the minor through the next friend or guardian, as the case may be. Still, the court may look into it. Suppose a suit is filed by a minor represented by a next friend for realization of 10 lakhs from the defendant on the basis of a document. The document is proved in the case, and therefore the plaintiff has to get 10 lakhs plus interest and cost. The suit is compromised for 1 lakh. The next friend files an affidavit stating that it is to the best interest of the minor to compromise it for 1 lakh. The lawyer appearing in the case also files an affidavit. It is to the best interest of the minor. Court need not accept it. Court may ask why. On the basis of the document which is already on record and on the proved facts, why should the minor settle it for 1 lakh instead of 10 lakhs? Is it to the interest of the minor? Are you not duping the minor? The court will protect the interest. So the affidavit as well as the certificate by the lawyer need not prevent the court from inquiring into the matter, from examining whether the agreement or compromise is for the benefit of the minor. So what is of paramount importance is that the court should look into it. Court should protect the interest of the minor. If there is a doubt, that is why all these affidavit and certificate It's not a normal procedure. This is a procedure which is to make it doubly sure, and making them responsible also. Security proceedings. All these are to protect the interest of the minor. Still, even if all compliance of all these rules, the court may say, I will examine. But apparently, that compromise or agreement does not seem to protect the interest of the minor. The court will examine it. Any such agreement or compromise entered into without the leave of the courts or accordant shall be voidable against all parties other than the minor. What is the meaning of it? Such agreement or compromise without the leave is obtained. I say entered into. Without obtaining leave. Agreement or compromise. What is the scope of this agreement or compromise? It is voidable at whose instance? At the instance of the minor, and not against the minor. A suit is filed by the minor represented by next friend in respect of an item of property. The next friend enters into a compromise with the defendant without getting leave of the court. And suit is then thereafter abandoned, withdrawn or something like that, or the suit is pending. Let us take it the suit is pending. A compromise was entered into between the next friend of the plaintiff and the defendant. That is not binding on the minor. It is voidable at his instance. But is it voidable at the instance of the defendant? No. Defendant cannot say that the agreement or compromise is voidable and therefore it is to be set aside because the minor's next friend has signed it without taking leave of the court. Sometimes it may be better to the better interest of the minor. The minor, even on attaining majority, may not repudiate the contract. He may be happy. Then, if it is to the interest of the minor, the defendant cannot, minor plaintiff, the defendant cannot take advantage of the absence of leave and say that it should be set aside. Likewise, there is a minor defendant. The plaintiff cannot take advantage of non-granting of leave to compromise on behalf of the minor defendant. If really it is to the interest of the minor, minor can get it set aside, but not against the minor. So if the minor is benefited by such agreement or compromise, and notwithstanding the absence of any such leave by the court, still the minor can take advantage of it, but not against the minor. This is a point to be noted. Now, retirement of next friend, removal of next friend, we will deal with it in the next episode. I never thought that Order 32 will go to such an extent. This is a very important provision. So we will deal with it in the next episode. Thank you.